Well, I'm sitting here. This is my mother's car. Let me see if I can get this right. My mother's car, what is it? A Fiat. Let me see that.
I don't know.
Fiat or Fiat? Oh, whatever. Sitting here. Oh, look at this PEI parking lot. I don't know if you can see that little white stuff flying around through the air. That's called snow. It's about to be May 1st tomorrow. How gross is that? Man, oh man, it's cold down here right now. So we had a lot going on this week. We have a lot going on. I wanted to start my videos this week with my opening. It's been a couple of weeks since I did that. I wanted to compile a bunch of stuff. Listen, we have a ton of horses racing tonight, racing tomorrow. But tomorrow is a travel day for Amy and I. I don't have time to do the videos tomorrow. I have to get up 5 o'clock in the morning. I told you this. She took it pretty good, really. 5 o'clock in the morning from PEI to Montreal to Chicago to Dayton. And I thought we'd just stay in Dayton, but I got an offer from, I guess we could still get a hotel.
Wait, are they racing tomorrow?
Yes.
Not Monday.
No, tomorrow. We're flying home Monday.
So let's hope that nothing bad happens on the way there.
Like what?
With all your stopovers.
Oh, please. What could go wrong? When does anything ever go wrong flying for us? So if you guys don't know what took place on, what day was that? It was yesterday, it was Friday? Friday we get to the airport, there's 10 million people in line, missed our flight to PEI. So then we had to fly to Moncton, New Brunswick, and get picked up in Moncton. It worked out, it was all good. I got Maid Marian's, we ate last night at a nice restaurant. What was that called? The Red River Grill? It was nice, nice restaurant though. So tomorrow we fly out and go to Dayton. I think what we'll do, Kyle Gray, we're lucky we have so many great clients. Everybody knew that we were flying into Dayton, and Kyle sent me a message that, hey, I'll pick you up at the airport, which really would have helped because it would have been Uber otherwise. I think what we'll do is check into a hotel in Dayton because there's actually a really good restaurant in Dayton. Amy hates that. I plan all my excursions around restaurants also. I love good food.
Meanwhile, this is what I'm eating for breakfast.
Yeah, we're getting a butter croissant, but we had 2 big meals yesterday. Can't be gorging ourselves. Look like dairy cattle come September. So, Kyle Gray was nice enough to is going to be nice enough to pick us up at the airport. I think we're going to stay in Dayton, race the horses, come back to Dayton, and then go to that restaurant. I can't think of the name, but it will come to me, and I'll know the name as soon as I see it. Very, very good food. Last year, anyway. So we get the fillies racing tomorrow. We've worked. I think he's expecting you to.
Oh.
Lots of horses racing tomorrow with the fillies. We got, let me see if I can get this. Of Tom, Eyes of 10, 1-2 Skip a Few, Purple Aura, and Sweet on Pete. Never missed a beat. Then also tomorrow is very important. Also, we're going to talk about these horses in a minute. Haven't really given a lot of talk, a lot of airtime to Renegade Gypsy and Stonebridge Acadi. Both raced great last week. Very, very good. I saw Mario training Gypsy before I left. He looked good. And Hakati's really coming on. That was a good mile for that horse the other day. That's obviously Simba's brother. We're going to talk about him in a minute also. So let's get right into it. We have, obviously, as we always do at the stable, especially this time of year, we have a ton of stuff going on. Some good, some bad. It's just the way it is. Wouldn't it be great if things always went right? But they never do, and that's the beauty of this game, you know. That's why you have to hold on to the good points so hard, because they're certain to be followed by some sort of bad points. We're getting a closer look at the 2-year-olds now. Some of them are. I sent Lady All-Star to the pool yesterday. She lying on her knee. You'd never know it. Sound is $1. She is so tough. So I said to the vet, I said, I'm going to tell you one thing. I wish they all were as tough. She is, as they would say in the Maritimes, she is tougher than a boiled owl. I don't know what that means, but a boiled owl.
Owl?
Yeah, it's a saying here. I don't know why. It's fantastic. It works great. You just throw it out there and people are baffled. They don't know what you're talking about. Most people laugh, but it's a thing. It's a saying. Okay. Or whalebone, as I've used. Whalebone all the time. Which in they don't have bones? They must. Of course they have bones. What are you talking about?
But like, why would they?
You're not making any sense. But in hindsight, I think if we're going to talk about toughness, there's no possible way a boiled owl would be tougher than a whale's bone. It's impossible. So she would be Whalebone. She is very, very tough filly. Very, very tough filly. She, I love everything about this filly. I didn't like her when we broke her. She was really naughty, to say the least. And in a good way, though. Just that, looking for a fight every day. I love that. I love that about horses when they got that grit to them. And she's polished up nicer than I would have hoped and expected into a very nice filly. But she's not without her issues. Little line in her knee, little line in her hind sesamoid. She is tough. So we're just gonna, the way we usually address these with the babies is simple. 4 to 6 weeks in the stall. Now, she'll be 4 weeks, because usually it's 4 to 6 weeks. If they're walking sound and seem good, they go in the pool, but she's not lame at all. So it'll probably be 3 to 4 weeks for her in the stall, right into the pool, and then after about a month, we re-x-ray. If all those lines are healed in nicely, back to the track for her, because she can make the latter part of the season, which is fine with me anyway. She's got a lot of growing to do. I don't mind this path at all. Not at all for Lady All-Star. I really, really like her a lot. The other two fillies that went, I did a video yesterday, Una Madonna and Coupe de Ville, both green lights across the board. A little bruising in the right foot of Coupe de Ville, but that's odd and weird. We'd shocked it, and it's my understanding she'll be fine. But no concerns with those two horses. Now, those were 3 horses that I looked and said, okay, right now we're looking across the board. Now we're starting to put fairly decent hard work into them. They're coming halves in 104, 103 in the jog cart. So I want to see, how do they look the next day? How do they look their next training session? Are they eating good? Are they feeling good? And take a look at everybody. A very broad look at everybody and say, okay, I want to look at that one, that one, that one. The first 3 that I picked out of the herd, so to speak, were Una Madonna, Coupe de Ville, and Lady All-Star. 2 full speed ahead. The other one, it's good too. And somebody said, wow, do you think that training them hard caused it? Yes. Yes, I do. But that's not a bad thing. If we had babied them, it would be hard for me to quantify and actually believe that those weren't weak points to begin with. And my take on that is very simple. If we had to train them down easy, when we really did, when push came to shove and they really had to do their work, now you're putting a lot more speed and torque into them, and those little lines that you would have seen in her knee or a sesamoid would have been fracture points. And I truly believe that. That's what I believe, and I'm happy that we found some issues with Lady All-Star that we can simply just address and move on. Great week this week at the track. I looked at our winners. I can only see a few winners, but a ton of horses that race good. 1, 2, 3 are raced big miles. Horse like Will to Win Hanover raced incredible, finished 4th. So I'm going to talk about the winners first. A filly that came back. We had high hopes for some horses this year. Really, really high hopes. Now, Bomb Hugger was a small filly. Is she going to mature? You've seen this if you've been with us long enough. Sometimes those small horses that race huge at 2, those are their best miles. They don't really come forward you don't see them grow up and get faster and faster and faster. That's kind of what they are. And I didn't know where Bomb Hugger fit in that model, but in fairness to her, she was by Chapter 7, very, very good family. There's nothing to believe there's no reason to believe she couldn't, but I was eagerly waiting. I kept it quiet. I was waiting for myself. That mile last week just absolutely floored me. I could not believe she did that so easily. And then yesterday, just commanded the lead and won at will. She didn't look like Mike was picking at her and stuff, but again, she's in against aged horses. This wasn't a walk in the park layover. Yes, she was 1 to 9 and she was supposed to win, but none of those races are gimmies. And I'll tell you what, that 4th in 54 and then come back in 56 couldn't have been scripted better for her start to the season, which is next week in Freehold, and I'll be there to drive her in Freehold next week. Then we go to Resolute Bay. Huge mile by him. James said still on the left line and wasn't perfect. Now James is telling me and critiquing the horse a little bit because he's not going to drive him in the final. In fairness, I don't know what schooler qualifier or race it was. It wasn't a race. I went up beside Century Invader on the gate with someone. He looked incredible. He's a good looking horse. When you watch Century Invader, that's how you want your young horses to look. Mark Stacy and Stacy Stables do a tremendous job anyway. And that colt, he looks, I'm gonna fall short of saying the real deal because he's got a lot of room before he races against horses where you say, okay, that's a good horse, but he is well on his way. Man, that horse looked like poetry in motion the other night. As I said to James, Resolute Bay may not be better than him, but it wouldn't shock me if he beat him. Resolute Bay has turned into a very, very tenacious horse. And a pretty good tackler, too. If you watched the winner's circle last night, Peggy, you got to watch where your feet are. Because when the horse steps on your shoe, over you go. It's happened to me a million times. Pretty good tackle, all in all, from Resolute Bay in the winner's circle last night. But he raced so good. And, I am proud of a horse like this, But this goes back to our core model where we changed these slight changes. We could have raced Resolute Bay in the grassroots and overnights and put him in where he couldn't do. We opted for the Prospect Series and a couple of grassroots and some overnights. The way that horse was managed last year started out with Johnny, who did a great job. All of us at the stable, but Johnny did a great job. And then Jason, the way he trained him back, and now Harry. That horse has been managed well, and this is how you can take an okay horse and turn him into a real good horse. And Resolute Bay, it wouldn't shock me if he was a gold colt, to be honest. This horse is still not even remotely fully matured. It's not that he's underweight, but he could put weight on. This horse is in a transition right now. He's transforming into the horse we're going to see. He's not even there yet. And trotting in 56, 27, 28. This is a nice horse. He's going to be a nice horse for us. And left line, he's going to go up to the vet on Monday. Crew chief, Steve and I, long story with this horse. He ended up in our barn. I own him with Steve. He was a bit of a project, and Brody had been going with him. I probably shouldn't have qualified him yesterday. I mean, truthfully, I talked to Steve. We both knew going in, we had our eyes wide open and realized that this horse was nowhere near 100%. But I said, we're going to train him anyway, so why don't we just qualify him once, see how he goes, and then we'll give him the 10 days to work on his blood, have him to the vet, make any adjustments and changes I want to make with him, and then we'll requalify him. Probably should have skipped yesterday's step, I guess, in hindsight, and maybe just went for a schooler. But I was hopeful. I said, he trained great the week before in 2-1. There's no reason to think he can't go back there. But he wasn't great yesterday. Bumpy, and his blood did play a role. He just wasn't good. Again, this is one of these hindsight moments. Probably shouldn't have qualified him yesterday. But Bomb Hugger, Resolute Bay were both fantastic this week. Grace looked incredible yesterday, qualifying. James said, if anything, she was a little warm. And I don't know why. Maybe James, said put a different snake on. Nah, Cindy wouldn't let him, I know. She was just a little warm yesterday, but he said, manageable, and finished off the mile super strong, 27-4 in the end of a mile, 57-2. Again, we might be blessed with a number of gold horses this year in Ontario, which we bought these horses modestly. Like Grace was a walk-on in the stable for the most part. Resolute Bay was a very meagerly priced horse. I think we've done some great work with a couple of these horses, those two for certain. To talk about, then you look at, you want to see how tough the program is. Century Invictus, nice horse. He's already won in 54 this year, pace 52 as a 2-year-old. He's going to be a grassroots horse at best, right? Almost there, boss. These are tough horses. And somebody said to me, well, they got to go in the grassroots. No, they don't, actually. If Century Invictus is going to struggle in the grassroots, I can send him to Yonkers, where I know he'd bust around a half, beat the hell out of them, and make really, really, actually way more money there than he would in Ontario. But that's the beauty of us, right? We are the stable. We are a big operation that spans over every jurisdiction in North America. And if Century Invictus is going to win race in New York, I really don't care about the Ontario Sire Stakes. He's going to go where he's going to go to make the most money. And I think that is a feather in our cap. And I say that a lot, but that's a feather in our cap in the sense that we have the flexibility, we have the mobility to move our horses around if we see fit. That's not to say that he's going anywhere at all, but the option is there, right? Like James said to me last week, he goes, on a half, this horse is as good as most grassroots horses. On a big track, he might struggle a bit, but on a half, he's a monster. Well, it just so happens that the biggest purse structure in North America right now is based on a half at Yonkers. So lots of options with him. Almost there, boss. The City of London pace is coming up. The City of London series. Here's a horse that, fast-wise, I'm sure he's one of the best. As far as, does he fit in on a half? Does he get around a half? He's a big boy. I don't know. I don't know if he is, but we'll find out. But again, we have options. So who raced great this week? I said Bomb Hugger, Resolute Bay were both fantastic in their races. But don't forget about the horses that were runners-up, right? High Gear No Fear. This is a horse that, I think all of my partners on High Gear No Fear was like, he was like that number one draft pick that just didn't turn out. It was going to be a bloodbath on him. And I told everybody, and I keep saying it, when he looks like a good horse, he'll race like a good horse. And you keep saying it. Every week he looks a little better, and every week he races a little better. It's my prophecy of High Gear No Fear is coming to fruition. You're going to see him get better and better and better. James said he raced good. I was surprised. That was a big move in the last turn. That wasn't an elongated move, but it was a big move, and I was really happy with the way that horse raced. A little bit better every week. Baby steps with this guy. He's coming. Unfortunately, this week we lost our one of our longest standing members in Don't Believe Me, Just Watch. He was claimed. You guys knew that this was coming, and I know it probably broke the hearts of some of our clients that he was claimed, but at the same time, I'll stand by exactly what I had said leading up to the race. This was the class he belonged in, and he wasn't on his game the other night. He was a beaten fifth. I think if he was as sharp as he was the week before, they're not going to be sharp every week. You can't have the horses razor sharp every week. It's impossible. Horse did what he could, finished fifth, and was claimed. So good luck to the new owners of Don't Believe Me, Just Watch. As I said earlier, Will to Win Hanover, a huge mile. Very, very happy with what I've seen from her. What Dominic and James are doing with this horse is perfect. This is what we planned for Will to Win Hanover way, way, way back when. A filly that mentally struggles a little bit with grasping racing, but she's getting better and better and better. Big last quarter, big mile from her the other night. And as I said to everyone, she isn't going anywhere. There's a lot of people out there saying, oh, I can't wait to see her in Pennsylvania. You're going to be waiting a while. She's not going anywhere, this filly. I like her the way she is there. And when James and I and Dominic say, okay, now she's ready to go, that's when she's going to leave. And there's lots and lots and lots of races. The expensive thing, but the good thing about Will to Win Hanover is that we paid her into everything on planet Earth. So there is no rush to go anywhere with Will to Win Hanover. Unbeatable Kemp was incredible this week. James had him almost, I don't think it was a different postal code, but it was on the border of a different postal code in the last turn. He just got shuffled back behind cover, and he was flying at the wire. And, Blue Bayou Dio is a filly. She's not a colt. She doesn't have the experience that horse has for the most part. And I don't know if she's as fast as him, but she's a nice filly. I kicked her off cover. She was going to be second, and he comes screaming by me late in the mile and looked very, very good.
He saw a lot of air, too.
He saw some air. He's allowed to.
The whole stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good.
That's true. I talked to Mark Silva the other day. I'm not sold yet on sending Blue Bayou Dio. She is slated to be on the truck for Tuesday, but I am going to take a look at what happens today at the Meadowlands. Venerable is slated to qualify. There's two other fillies that look really, really good. Not to mention Brickhouse Babe is already ready. I am not sending our horse there to get a beating. I'm not sending her to a firing squad. It's not going to happen. So I said this in a video just like this the other day. There's a very good chance that I might just pull the plug on Blue Bayou Dio heading to New Jersey and just put her in to go at Mohawk on Thursday. There's a very, very real possibility. Now, Unbeatable Kemp, I think Unbeatable Kemp trotting 52 right now at the Meadowlands. I think he can go, but I do not think that Blue Bayou Dio, I do not think she is going to head on Tuesday. I'm not positive, but that's the way I'm leaning. Renegade Gypsy and Stonebridge Acadi, as I said, Mario's managing them well, doing the right thing. As I said to him, I was happy to see them in to go at Flamborough, not at Mohawk. We allow me to do my job best, which allows me to do their job best. In the past, people might have said, well, can we get them to Mohawk, see if they're going to be able to do it Mohawk? That's a bad idea. It's never a good idea. They should be obviously ready to go to Mohawk when they go to Mohawk. And by Mario racing at Flamborough, it's just smart. Man's doing a good job with the horses. Both these horses are coming on. Hikati fits the City of London Trotting Series also, and Stonebridge and Renegade Gypsy has stake races coming up. So very smart in what he's doing. Very happy with what I see. Walk on the Moon in a little tough today. I'm going to have a little talk with Tim, the same as I have with all of our trainers. I want our horses in where they can win. He's 15-1 morning line. I'm not certain of a class. I haven't seen it, and I hope he races good. But the early indicators are he's in the wrong class. So there'll be no more filling classes with our horses. They're supposed to be put in where they... Now, you look at a race tonight like No Free Lunch. The horse just win in 51, come 25-4. and the race secretary can't let him into his class. The one in between was not filling, so it was either race him or sit him. Strike while the iron's hot. I want to make sure that no free lunch was in. I said to Harry, listen, here's what the race secretary had said. He said, well, I think we should probably race. I agree. Put the horse in. Now, unfortunately, he drew the 10 hole, and he's in with some, Sintra drew the rail. Like, that's a little unfair. Give Sintra the 10 hole. Us the rail. Anyway, tough class tonight. There are going to be tough classes. There are going to be weeks when we pick up the sheet and we're like, geez, it's a little tough. But the race secretary did cut us some slack and give us some classes for horses over the last month. There's give and take, and the one thing I appreciate about the new race secretary for sure, Tony O'Sullivan, is pick up the phone and call people. He'll pick up the phone and tell us, let us know, hey, this is what's going on with this class. It's not going to fill. Or, hey, do you have a horse for this class? Or we could use that horse in another way. I appreciate that because much like you, I don't like surprises in that regard. When it comes to our horses, we're trying to make plans. A lot of these horses we're trying to forge their paths forward as 3-year-olds, and I don't like those types of surprises. But when it comes to a horse like No Free Lunch, sometimes you're going to have to find a spot for him. Now, that may mean, at some point down the road, if you're going to race him in the backup class and he can't do, we're going to have to cross that bridge when we come to it and make a decision together. But for right now, very happy with the way everything is going. Walk of the Moon, same type of thing. Maybe the horse, they combined the class and used him, he drew the outside. I don't know. But when I look at the sheet and he's 15-1, that's a place he shouldn't be. So, again, it may just be circumstances. We'll see, one, how he does stay, and then I'll talk to Tim about that also. World for 2 races today. Man, he looks great. Looks really, really good, this horse. Super happy with what I've seen from him. So good luck. 6-horse field, there's a killer in there. Unless that horse at Burks breaks a hobble, I just don't see how they're going to beat him. He drove away from me last week with the earplugs in, first over a mile 52. He's a killer. I forget his name. Doesn't matter. Grace, as I said, huge qualifier from her. She starts in the non-winners of 2 next week. So does Taiwan On. So Taiwan On has to go first. We'll see where we fit the other horses. Taiwan On, I did call Scott Zeron, which I knew that Scott Zeron's girlfriend trained horses, and they're only going to be down in Philadelphia for 1 start. So I called Scott and said, listen, I can't go drive her. I'd rather you drive her anyway, or Mark. I don't know who's going to train her. Would your girlfriend like to train Taiwan On for the week? You go drive her in the Pennsylvania Sires, and then send her back to the Meadows, where she's going to race her 2nd start. That would be great, because if I could send that filly down to a Megan and Scott to race in Philadelphia in the Poconos, and that would be fantastic. It would make things a lot easier for me. So we'll see how that relationship grows. But for now, the plan for Taiwan On Thursday, non-winners of 2 for sure, and then down to Megan and Scott to race in the 1st Sire Stakes at Philadelphia. So that's worked out. And we had LD's Patrick, a kind of meager 3rd the other day. I'm going to drive him on Monday, and man, he got in tough on Monday. But I don't mind the class. He's going to leave out, probably sit behind that good golly Miss Molly freak, and we'll see if we can run her down. If we can't, I think it gives him a clear target. He's a happier horse covered up, and I can't wait to race him on Monday. I love driving this horse. He is a sweetheart to be around. And as I said, it's funny how this horse has changed so much, but one of my favorite horses. What? What are you saying? I'm talking too much?
Well, yeah, but I didn't know you were racing on Monday.
I am racing Monday night, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm in later on, so the timeline should be okay for Ollie. I'm not in till later on, and I don't got to warm him up. So Ollie's playing baseball on Monday, an exhibition game. You didn't send some dumb song for his walkout song, did you? Send the one I gave you.
No, he's AC/DC.
Yes,
No,
that's a walkout song for...
8.
Yeah, but he likes AC/DC.
No, you do.
No, I don't. He's the one that always turns down the car. Why don't you ask him? Wait until he gets up. You're going to ask him. So Patrick and Stay Close are racing Monday. Stay Close drew the outside. I really don't know what to think. I just hope the horse races good. Going to make a few little equipment adjustments with him for Monday night. And as I said, Grace will be racing soon. If they split that class, that would be awesome, because that would be Grace and Taiwan On, different classes on Thursday. That would be awesome. Perfect, actually. And then, obviously, it would be unfair for me not to mention the mile that Procrastinator went the other night. Man, oh man, he's turned into a nice horse, hasn't he? Who would have thought Procrastinator would one, pace 52-4 in April of his 3-year-old year, and two, have to do it in a maiden, getting beat. That's hard to believe, but he really is starting to look good. Impressive mile from him, but the way he did it was impressive too. Obviously, Tony Hall thought enough of him in the last turn to move him 3 wide. So he thought he was sitting on maybe something a little bigger than he was, or maybe the front two kind of took off. That horse on the rail, Pearl Snaps, that won it, Ray's finished second in the Next Generation last year, and I know they got really, really high hopes for him. So it wasn't like this was a bunch of misfits. 2 really nice horses he was in with. Dock of the Bay was another nice one, the one that was second. But Procrastinator just looked fantastic. So he looked great again. Now we had a bunch of updates this week. As I said in the opening, we had some vets, some horses that went to the vet. Now last week we had some disturbing news when we saw Patrick the Piranha flip his heart. I did a video with the veterinarian explaining what that general term, horseman's term, means, and how generic it can be. But none of that mattered. How did he bounce back? We went in the next day. His heartbeat was proper. Was the way it was supposed to. We actually have him in to qualify Monday. So before I left, I wanted to train him. So is it Friday or Thursday?
It's
Thursday morning, I trained Patrick the Piranha at the farm in 2-1. He came. I guarantee you, there hasn't been a horse pace the last quarter faster in the history of that training center, and it opened in the 80s, than Patrick the Piranha did. It was at least 27, to the point where I didn't really feel I could ask him for any more, because I might have broke the bike. The way he was pacing, it's a flat turn, that last turn, and the bike was literally, once in a while you feel it skip sideways. You couldn't generate any more torque on that sulky than that horse did going that last quarter. That was an incredible last quarter for him. Most importantly, when he came off the track, fine. He was quiet, he was relaxed, no concerns at all, scoped clean, heart sounded great, very, very happy. So as we were hoping, it appears that it was an anomalous situation. Worked him hard on Thursday. He's back on Monday to qualify. I think Mario's going to go with him. James has days. I'm not back in time. I think Mario Bergeron is going to qualify the horse on Monday morning. So that's good news. I should have went with him last. We'll talk about him again in just a second. Slim Jimmy, a lot of people asking what happened with him. Obviously, in proximity to what went on with Patrick, we obviously had questions. It wasn't his heart. The horse scoped okay. We're going to put him in the grassroots, and then we're going to draw his blood. If it's something minor we can work on, he can race. And if it's not, we'll have to scratch him. I think that was the right way to go. We will have to scratch him. His white count was 13, which is incredibly high. So he had a little infection somewhere going on. It wasn't obvious to the veterinarian. It wasn't anywhere evident in the scope. So something was going on with Slim Jimmy. The veterinarian started him on, Mike started him on antibiotics, and obviously we scratched him on Monday. So a $250 gamble did not pay off on Monday, but it did in a sense that we found out why Slim Jimmy did not race good the following start. It really would have sucked, to be honest, tell the truth, if we had drawn his blood and it all come back good. Scope clean, all come back good. That would have been throwing a lot of water on a pretty hot fire that we have for Slim Jimmy this year. So I think lots of time between now and his second stake race. He'll miss the first, well, he was going to miss the Sire Stakes anyway. He'll miss the first Sire Stakes. We'll have him ready to go in a couple of weeks. We might even re-qualify him or just put him in to go. That class, he actually fits the class that Baumhugger won yesterday. She won convincingly in 56-4. Slim Jimmy's already qualified in 56-2 and trotted in 55-1. Seems like it might be a good spot for him. Laugh Now the other night. Now, my expectations are low. We bought this horse for $4,500 US out of the last sale. He's a full brother to Alarm Detector. Apparently nobody could get him to trot, and he just wasn't a very likable animal. We got him qualified. I didn't know if 2 minutes was his peak. Maybe he just isn't any good. Then he went out and trotted 57 last quarter, 27-4 for James. And everybody's like, that's awesome. I mean, how do you beat that? Well, you don't beat it by following him up with a 6th place finish in 59. We scoped him after, and he had lots of blood and mucus. Now, the veterinarian would say maybe the mucus caused the blood, the chicken and the egg type thing. Well, no, it wasn't really chicken and the egg, because the blood wouldn't cause mucus, but the mucus could cause blood. I opted for the latter. I think we're going to school him next week on Lasix. If he schools as good as I assume he will, he'll be entered on the Lasix program and race shortly after that. But it's always good to see a horse race a little flatter than you'd hope and not have your dreams crushed by finding out there was really nothing wrong with them. There was something that definitely wrong with Laugh Now, and none of it is that hard to fix, really, to be quite frank. So Laugh Now should come back with a much, much better and much improved performance. So again, sneaking back into that optimistic zone for Laugh Now. As I said, Patrick, we're going to talk about horses on the move. Patrick the Piranha A and Slim Jimmy are heading to Mark Beckwith on Tuesday morning. This was the same truck that was supposed to take Unbeatable Kemp and Blue Bayou Dio. That truck might be one horse light with Blue Bayou Dio. I'm leaning towards staying here now. So it looks like Tuesday morning, Unbeatable Kemp will be heading to the Mark Silva stable in New Jersey. And Patrick the Piranha, who I suspect will qualify very well on Monday, and Stonebridge Simba will both be heading to Mark Beckwith at Saratoga. They'll race at Plain Ridge. They'll probably race the odd race at Saratoga also, but it'll be a good staging point for those two horses in particular for two very similar reasons. Race, remember, they can win. The Open at Toronto is going to be tough. Yes, he can win his way up the classes, I'm sure, but we can also do it there. They actually race for more money in Plain Ridge than they do at Mohawk, class for class right now. And Saratoga, Mark's backyard, is a good spot to throw the odd race in for this horse. They don't race for as much, but nevertheless, if you get all of it, it all adds up. So that's the plan with all the horses. Super pumped with what I've seen this week. The babies looked incredible. As I said, I trained 5 or 6 horses between 213 and 214 in the jog cart this week. I don't think anybody looked as good as Brace for Landing. So it's very uplifting for me to see him train down. We were very quiet with him, and we're going to continue to be quiet. As I said to James, we paid him in the Miller Farms stake race up here because I really want to be focused on Kentucky with Brace for Landing. I don't really care about the sire stakes in New Jersey. He can't go everywhere. It's just impossible. So I think I'm almost leaning, in my mind now, a lot. This is very, very fluid, and a lot can change. A number of these horses, my take on them would be forego the New Jersey sires, stay here, race in the Miller Farms or the Pure Ivory, then take them down to Kentucky and focus on Kentucky. I believe that's a better route. I just don't think there's any need to drop the hammer in the end of June with these horses, because once you drop the hammer, once you put them in top gear, it was a great conversation I had with a client yesterday. Tom had asked me, he said, why wouldn't you just go easy with Carter Michael Dio in particular for a month? If we're racing him and everything in the middle and the later part of the summer, why not just shut him down and then bring him back? Well, and my analogy was a baseball player. I said, why don't we just play Vladimir Guerrero every 4th game just to make sure he stays good? Because athletes don't work that way. When you get them to their top level, it's not that easy to keep them there. They're not cars. You can't put them in the garage for a week and bring them back out. So as we work towards that starting point, now is the last stage where we can back off a tiny bit or drop the hammer. But once you get the hammer dropped, you almost have to keep them in constant forward motion. It's not that easy just to say, we're going to turn them out for 3 weeks and bring them back. It doesn't work that way. It never does. It never does well anyway. So I think if we aim to start these horses towards the mid or latter part to July in tough company, easy wins are not the same as going to the well, working your ass off. Stake wins, they're not the same. And easy wins don't always, you see it in Ohio, right? When was Purple Aura's best race? Last year in Dayton at the end of the year. She raced the entire year, all through the fairs. She set track records all summer, raced in the fairs, won very easily. Very often I didn't even pull the earplugs on her because she stayed fresh all year because of that. So the management is very important. You have, I put it to you this way, you have 8 to 10 hard starts for the babies and 10s lots. You see some horses with 15, but they end up getting really tired at the end of the year. So I would like to look, where is our 8 to 10 best managed starts? That doesn't count easy wins. I'm not counting qualifiers, schoolers. 8 to 10 races where they go to the track and they come back tired. Obviously, the Breeders' Crown would be cool. The Houghton, if we go that way to New Jersey, would be cool. A couple of the races in Kentucky would be cool. So we have all these horses that are eligible, all these very lucrative, expensive, and very, very tough stake races. How do we manage our horses? What I saw from Brace for Landing, when I factor in how good he looked, how easy he did it on Thursday, and then look at where we need to race him, that factor in his breeding, what expectations are. This just isn't a horse we hope is good. This isn't just a horse that looks good. He's got a great family, he's got a very, very deep pedigree, and he's got lots to offer. Horn Player, another horse that fits that bill. Carter Michael Dio, another horse that fits that bill. And a lot of people are asking, well, why are we turning out Merchant Man? He's eligible to stuff later on too. How are we going to manage our 2-year-olds so that they become the best 2-3-year-olds and above aged horses after that? How do we turn these horses into the best horses they can be? I think we've done and do a very good job training them down. Now we need to focus on where we go. And that's where we're at right now with all the 2-year-olds. I've been super happy when I look, when you look at a horse, even in the most meager terms like Resolute Bay, race them. That's the easiest way to address everything in this game. Race them where they can win. They can't always do that. They're going to go into stake races where they're long shots. But if you attempt to race them where they can win, you're going to find favorable results. And that's exactly what we're seeing at the stable in 2022 and continuing on from 2021. That shift in the way that we do business and our model has been successful. It works. And it's as simple as hell. Put the horses in where they can win. That's it. It's not really rocket science. So, with that, I'm going to let you guys go. We got a ton of videos to do today. It's freezing cold in PEI. We're going to get on the road. I'm going to go see one of my uncles right now. What do we got? We got to go get a rapid test. It's weird. You need a rapid test to get into the U.S., and I don't need one to get back into Canada now. It's just a transition. So I got to go get my rapid test. Amy and I are rapid tests so we can fly to Dayton tomorrow.
You're going to kill me. I'm going to tell you right now. Because
I don't have my passport either.
Okay.
Neither is Stu. Do you have your wallet, though?
No.
Because I have my Nexus card.
My Nexus card is in my wallet.
Okay, well, we'll just go home and get them. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. The only hiccup of the day, we forgot our passports out at my parents' place, so I'm going to go get them. Now, the good thing is, the island's small, and somebody says, oh, we got to go all the way back out. I hear that all the time. We got to go all the way back out home. It's 15 minutes max from here. From right where I'm standing, right where we're sitting, might be 12 minutes to our house. I think we'll head back. Way back out to the house and get those passports. I will talk to everybody soon. I'd like to tell you it's a great day. It's not. It's like a March 1st Saturday today. It's cold. There's blowing snow. It's not cool. And especially when I know it's going to be like tomorrow. Dayton, plus 23 in sun tomorrow. No coat, no sweater. I didn't bring my shorts though. I should go buy some shorts.
Shorts is a little...
I'm going to tell you what. 23 in Dayton, it's hot. You know what we got to do is find the name of that restaurant. Yeah. No need anybody email me, say try this restaurant, try that restaurant. I know what restaurant I'm going to. I just got to find the name, and I'm going to find it in a minute. So with that, I will talk to all of you very, very soon. I hope you're all having a great weekend. Off to a pretty good start. Great win yesterday from Bomb Hugger and Resolute Bay. Very optimistic looking futures for some really nice sophomores there. And we will talk about lots more in the future. Take care, everybody.